When you come in, this is Joe Jones, Bigspring Bulls of Tennessee, and I am frozen again on this thing. Am I still frozen on your end too?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh, wait a
That's-
minute. I think it
Okay.
okay, it's not frozen.
Eh, what I did, I turned it back around.
Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I got a very special guest today in my little venture of moving forward in this dog space with the most support animals. A lifelong friend, big sister, aka CEO of our own right now. We got a professor on the line, Miss Samara Bowser. Can you give them a brief introduction?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Joe, for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this. So, as he mentioned, I'm Samara Bowser. I am a licensed clinical social worker in the states of North Carolina and Virginia. And so, what I essentially do, I do own a private practice called Journey Counseling Consulting Services, where I do trauma related assessments and I pretty much provide therapy online and in person sessions to parents, families, couples, adults, children, adolescents, and teens.
Oh
So
well,
that's
shit.
pretty
I
much.
need to come holler at you then, boy. So, great.
So that's
Especially
me.
when you said parents and children. Yes, yes. Look, I'm in a journey with teenagers. I ain't really. This is my new. I'm in a new field right now.
Mhm. Yes,
um,
teens are something different.
what? Yes, yes. But with that being said, I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity. You don't understand. I've done tried to do this a couple times. I've tried to do one with my aunt. I tried to do one with a lady who actually bought a dog from me. Her
Hmm.
name is Jamie, and I came to find out she actually works in the mental health field.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, yeah, and we had some things in common. You know what I'm saying, with recovery and a lot of things like that.
Hmm.
So, but for some reason, every time I did these interviews, the sound would never come out.
Oh.
So I had to re-strategize this thing. But then my best friend, your husband, told me. He said, "Look, buddy, when you get back on a group chat, you need to call me, make sure I set up the sound." So,
He
and
helped
then
you
that's when
out.
so then that's when he reminded me. He was like, "Well, you connected. Mary did it," and I didn't realize how deep in the game you was. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I mean, look, I follow you. I stay posted with you. I see you. I see you making motions. I see you doing your thing. I
Hmm.
knew you was a professor, but I'm
Hmm.
just recently realizing that you got your own business. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And
Hmm.
I didn't know you was doing state to state training folks. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
pretty
So
much.
yeah, so that's major. That's major.
Hmm. Thank you.
So I mean, I'm proud of you, man, because I mean, we came from a long way. You
We
feel me?
have back in South Philly days.
We came from a long way.
Uh-huh.
And look, and I was even setting this up. I was thinking about JJ, the first, you know what I'm saying, the
Mhm.
the pump fuck. So,
Yeah.
with that being said,
Mhm.
in your experience, how pets contribute to mental health and emotional? So how do you feel like pets contribute to mental
Okay.
well-being and emotional health?
Okay. So I've had a lot of clients come to me and, they either currently already have pets or they're in the process of looking for it. And so licensed mental health counselors, they can do the assessment to make sure that they get approved. But I do think that the benefit of emotional support animals is pretty much, to be able to provide a sense of nurturing, provide a sense of calmness. It just depends on like what the individual may be suffering from or kind of challenging in that moment. So I've had individuals, who have lost like a close, like a loved one, and
Right,
so feeling
right,
alone. And so I think, especially dogs, I'll say I have the most experience with, dogs that they can pick up and kind of sense, when something's going wrong or like when their owner, their caregiver is, kind of struggling. And so just the way that they nurture, I've heard a lot of success stories from that.
that's what's up. You said approve. So in that program, the worker has to approve the dog. Is
So
that
it
what you're
just
saying?
depends. It just depends. So a lot of people they go through the actual like assessment process because for
Okay.
one, with apartments, like people have to pay a pet fee. However,
So
the pet fee is waived whenever they actually have a letter from a clinician or a licensed mental health counselor or a doctor to say that this individual suffers from this specific diagnosis, and this animal or this breed will be able to assist them, and so most of the time it's waived and they don't have to pay like a monthly fee. Sometimes
ah,
people need it, is so they can register their animal as an emotional support animal so they can fly with their animal, just things like that. So there is an
yeah, yeah.
actual certification for it.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that apartments waive the fee based on that evaluation either.
They will.
Um,
Hmm.
I really didn't know that. So that's a good information. Y'all remember that. I think that's one of the main things that got me into the fact that my ADHD
Hmm.
and anxiety. But I
Hmm.
didn't realize. I really didn't realize. I mean, I always knew I had some issues, but I didn't realize I had a mental health problem until my dad died. So
Okay.
um, I kind of the things that I thought I had control over in my life, I like kind of lost control of. You know what I'm saying? Like it
Hmm.
was, yeah. And in this current family, we've lost like a lot in the last year or so. So I
Mm.
definitely relate to that. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
how can owning a pet help reduce stress and anxiety?
Mhm. Well, I think sometimes when people are very stressed and very anxious, most of the time that's a sense of excessive worry. That's a sense of excess of maybe fear about something. And so a lot of times we as people, we don't confide in like even family and friends about what we're really, really going through,
Right.
And so just because we may feel that we'll be judged or they may not understand or we may have kind of burnt them out. And so with animals, they don't talk back, right? They kind of they kind of feed off of you, based off of
Facts.
kind of
Yeah.
like your emotions,
Right.
how
They
you
don't
treat
judge you.
them. Yeah, it's no judgment. And so, from my experience and just hearing some of my clients talk about what that does for them, it just gives them a sense of relief of just having someone there, even if it's a pet, that's just laying with them. It gives them the reassurance that everything is going to be okay.
Right.
I've been on virtual sessions with clients, and, you know, they get really anxious and really worked up, and their cat will automatically just come across the screen and just kind of sit right up under
Oh
her.
yeah, yeah. No, no, I totally agree. Because
Yeah. So,
my anxiety on me right now. All my dogs are outside. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
uh-huh.
like
Uh-huh.
and it's I think it's just the and it's I work and I'm kind of perfection, so it's trying to make sure all this goes right. Like I think my anxiety is on point on 10 because this is the first time this has ever went through the right way for me. So this all morning I'm like, oh my God, I need to make sure I got this right. Let's double
Uh-huh.
check this and what if
Uh-huh.
this don't work out? You know what I'm saying? So
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
that leads to my high blood, and I'm starting to realize that my anxiety increases my hypertension, which
Mm.
increases my blood pressure. So
Absolutely. Anxiety manifests in a physical way. Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah, and it's me sitting down actually putting this stuff together. And I'm like, I need to. But how do you find a way to calm down?
So, as far as like a pet or just in general?
Just in general.
So sometimes you really have to just kind of sit and just breathe and have a
Now, Mary,
conversation with.
it's hard for me to
I
sit
know, but I'm telling you,
down.
like, you just kind of go, 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 go. Like sometimes you literally have to just say, just stop, and let
Right.
me just breathe. And then let me ask myself, what is the worst case scenario that can happen from what I'm anxious about? So, like, with this live, like, you could have asked yourself, okay, what's the worst that can happen? Okay, it may not work out. So then I'll just try again. And typically, having that conversation
Right.
with yourself as if you are talking to like your loved one or your child. You know how we calm our children down, like it's
Yeah.
okay, don't worry about it. We
Yeah.
don't talk to ourselves like that, so it's literally just talking to yourself in a different way. Yeah.
Okay. So I ain't crazy for
Mm-mm.
coaching myself in situations.
No, you got to talk to
All right.
yourself.
Thanks. Are there you got any specific clients as an example of the benefits that has helped them out from like a a start point to a
Mhm.
now point?
Absolutely. I think I was mentioning a little earlier, I had this client where she and her sister, they were young, they one was, in college, just starting college, and the other was still in high school, and they were raised by a single mother and they lost their mother. Their mother was murdered. And
Mm,
so she was just having a hard time, just feeling as though like she didn't have anyone, she didn't have any family, so she continued, we worked on a lot of different interventions, and long story short, when she moved to college, I talked to her about getting an emotional support animal, a dog, to be able to kind of counteract some of her loneliness that she was experiencing. And so she struggled with that for a while, because she's not what she said, a pet girl. And
right,
so
right, right,
what she did was, I'm not sure where, oh, I know where she got the animal from. She actually got it from the shelter.
right, right.
She began to kind of research. Well, we researched like different breeds that would be like calm, but then she actually found out that there wasn't like a specific breed that was recommended. Any animal can pretty much be properly trained, because animals have a tendency to feed off of the energy of their
Oh
owners.
yeah, most
Uh-huh. And
definitely,
so
most definitely.
she ended up getting a pet, and so she fell in love with it. Like, she traveled with it, just everything. And so she told me that the benefit of it was she did not feel lonely. It was the loneliness that she was trying to address, because oftentimes when we lose someone, we're trying to figure out how to love them in the absence of with their loss. And so she had someone else who she felt like replaced her mom. So that was a benefit of it.
That's deep. I never thought of it like that. I
Mhm.
mean, wow, okay. That's pretty good. That's okay. That blew me right there. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, and when you say that, it kind of takes me back to an observation I've been making. Like my stepkids, their dogs kind of mimic them,
Mhm.
um, and just another reason why I decided to go into the emotional support because my wife deals with real bad anxiety. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying, and depression. And
Mhm.
I didn't really, I was kind of naive to it until we met and realized how she was when she didn't take her meds or whatnot. But then, as I got to know her struggles and what she went through in her life, you know what I'm saying? Like, I gained kind of a more better understanding, um, and being more aware, because me, man, I've always been hard skinned. Like I don't really show a lot of emotion.
Mhm.
Um, And I kind of get mad sometimes real quick, but I've been working on that. I'm a lot better with that. You know what I'm saying? I just and then I only get mad over dumb stuff. I don't like people that do dumb stuff. It takes a lot to get me activated, but I just disrespect is one of them things I can't.
Right. Right.
Um, I think it's yeah, I feel that. Um, what's a practice? What are a key practice? What is a key practice as far as um this whole game in the mental health field? Is there a certain direction that people go or like a
Mhm.
certain way that they handle this?
You mean as far as like how they handle their mental health, or
um a practice, the key practice as far as I guess is placing people with a mental health dog or even
oh,
suggesting that. I kind
um
of like rewrote the question so it wouldn't be breed specific.
mhm.
um
So you're asking me if what is the practice, or what is like the kind of procedures if they, want
yeah,
to
yeah,
process
there we
of
go.
want to get one.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
There we go.
So yeah, so I've seen it happen a lot of different ways. So some people already have pets, and so they actually kind of either train them themselves, or they take them to someone to get trained.
Okay,
Um
so I've actually reached out to the U.S. Service Animal Department,
mhm.
and I've got it set up to train my emotional support dogs of my own. But
Mhm.
I've been trying to figure out how to do it. But the only thing with that is, if I train that dog that dog will only be key to me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
okay.
my goal is to figure out how to use my dogs. Like my dogs are great with cats. They're great with people. Like my first generation, their mom was actually trained to be an emotional support animal, which actually put me into the game
Mhm.
of because I mean the lady told me she was like, yeah, she can sense anxiety and stress. And I was like, what?
Mhm.
No, I mean I've never heard that. But then
Mhm.
even when you put my pups to people that are going through something, you can see them naturally gravitate to
Mhm.
that person, come
Mhm.
up to them, you know what I'm saying, and probably pat him, and ease them, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
so that's
So
kind of like you can start it that way. Or you could some people just seek out to different breeders. I don't think there's like a I guess like a unified way of people do it. I think the main procedure is if they have to utilize it or if they want it registered as an emotional
right,
support animal, then they
right,
pretty much seek a clinician to be able to, and it's just the simple assessment. Unfortunately, the insurance don't pay for it, so they do have to pay out of
facts.
pocket for most. They have to pay out of pocket for most, clinicians to do it or whatever. So, and different clinicians charge different things, but it's just a letter just saying that I approve or I recommend, that this person, utilize a emotional support animal for X, Y, and Z. And then what I do
Was
it's kind of put like an explanation as to how their current diagnosis, like what are the symptoms of it and how it
right.
relates to the need of the animal. So that's pretty much
Is
kind of like the procedure, kind of changes a little bit, depends on what
facts.
you. Mhm.
Okay. Are there specific strategies that people take
Um,
in the approach?
I don't think so. Honestly, every once in a while you get people who you can tell that it's not they don't want it as an emotional support animal. They just don't want to pay a pet fee. So that's the whole reason of that's the whole reason of just
Yeah,
making sure
okay,
you
I
get an
got you.
assessment or whatever. But and
Right.
some people don't know about emotional support animals. So just like how clinicians will recommend like maybe medicine or this and that. I recommend an emotional support animal to be, especially people who live alone or like you mentioned, like their anxiety is just through the roof, and so you need something constant or consistent to be able to just kind of give you a nurture. We as adults,
Yeah.
we don't get nurture because we're not kids anymore. We don't have anyone kind of
Facts.
telling us it's gonna be
Facts.
okay. So we need something like that a lot to be able to help us. So
Facts.
it's
I mean, yeah, true indeed. Because I mean, it's the root. It's my daily routine with these dogs that actually helps with my ADHD.
mm-hmm,
You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like to this point now, I got six right now, and yeah, like they keep me busy.
mm-hmm,
And I mean, because I mean, I don't really have a lot of friends out here where I'm at, so
mm-hmm.
my dogs is pretty much where it goes. So
Okay.
if I didn't have them, I'd be sitting in the house all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
we're an hour from the city. I'm in the bowl of the mountain right now.
Oh wow, you
Yeah,
are.
yeah. Ain't nothing out here for real. But
uh
at the same time, it's keeping me away from the book. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, you know, challenges. Any challenges that
Mhm.
people specifically go through when they come to this, this emotional support dog? Like, are there challenges that may simplify? Maybe I guess I'm saying, on the surface, you may think somebody might need a dog, but
Mm.
what would be a challenge that would make you reconsider that may not be the thing to help them out?
Well, sometimes if I kind of do an assessment on someone, they're not really my client. Like I don't follow them. But if they remain my client, if I have to reconsider, I'm constantly checking on what that strategy, like what it's doing for them, like how's the dog and things like that. And if they're telling me some things like they are violent, like within their relationships,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
it's just like with a kid, like, you're exposing your animal to a lot of violent situations. You're aggressive all the time, you're angry all the time. then
The animal's
no,
gonna
like
adapt to that. Yeah, it's the animal's gonna
exactly.
adapt to that.
Exactly,
So
and so
yeah,
then it's no longer an emotional support, like, it's taking on your behavior, so that's kind of, like, somewhat of a challenge that I've seen. Now, of course, I can't, like, remove a pet from it, but, we can
right, right.
call, like, the ASPC, and we can kinda make certain reports. I've never encountered that before, um so that's kind of like maybe the only challenge that I could kind of predict. Now, the community, most people don't have a good understanding of what an emotional support animal does. Like
Right,
people are
right.
still in the times of what they used to call CNI dogs, but they're not called CNI dogs.
Right.
That's the only thing but we've evolved from that. It's not just kind of like, got us
Yeah,
into
leading the
dogs.
blind. Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
like
Yeah.
it's for mental health support, it's not just a physical thing. So that's another challenge, just how certain environments or certain places they don't honor that. So whether you have a registered ESA or not.
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, you see, I mean, that's true because I mean, before this, like, being in the restaurant business a long time, where I see a dog come in the restaurant, I'm like, hey, what you
Mhm.
doing?
Mhm.
Why you bring that dog in here?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I got a better understanding with it now, and like you said, back in the day, we only seen them as seeing eye dogs. So if
That's
you
it.
coming in the door and you ain't blind, you know what I'm saying? You like, hold on, what you doing? You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? But now,
Yeah.
people are starting to lose business by not catering to
Yes.
animals and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So it's and they say the dog game is getting more profitable, but
Mhm. Mhm.
I think I'm that one that's not trying to make it about the profit. You know
Okay.
what I mean? Like everybody like money. We want to make a dollar for
Mhm.
sure,
Mhm. Mhm.
but it's got to be more behind this than just trying to sell a dog for $4,000, $5,000. You know what I'm saying? Like for real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like everybody and their mama is. Any video you come to on YouTube right now, it's all about, hey, I got this $5,000 Frenchie. Okay, cool. What can
Mhm.
that Frenchie do for me for that $5,000?
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Okay, I
Mhm.
understand. See, this is my stepson dog right here.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and she ain't even my dog, but she kind of eats my anxiety just coming over there.
Oh, okay. That's
Um,
sweet.
but are there any? We said studies. You know any studies specifically?
I don't. I'm not a big
Fact.
researcher.
Fact.
But but I mean, it has to be some, evidence-based kind of like proof behind the success of emotional
It
support
does,
animals
yes,
just
ma'am.
because of how common or more common it's becoming,
Right.
so but I don't know of any exact studies, behind it.
Well,
You
look, if
know,
you find some, you let me know so I
yeah,
can.
yeah, I mean, that's not a bad idea to kind of research. And I think, one of your questions that you had was like what specific breeds, are just kind of, would be able to offer the temperament, of a dog that needs to be able to cater. So maybe that is kind of like an area to research where, within your organization and what you're trying to do, that you only work with a certain amount of animals, or, I don't know, if not just being a profit from it, it may be that like you know, your first, well, we're not just first 5 dogs or whatever, like you
Right.
give away like 3 dogs a month or
Right.
something
Right.
like that,
So, yeah,
or
yeah. Well, like I
yeah.
got that's, and I would love to.
Mm.
I think that's really what I want. I want to get connected with the government type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be able
Mhm.
to work with these offices and these hospitals and stuff like that. Bring my dogs in there to meet the kids, stuff like that. You know
And
what I mean?
also
Like,
schools, Joe.
yeah, for
At
sure,
our
for
school, we
sure.
have I forgot the name of that company that comes to our school twice a week, and she has a caseload, and they just literally play with the dog. I can't remember the name of the organization,
That's what I'm
but
saying. You know what I'm saying?
that's what they do. DSS, when kids are adopted or go to foster care, like you may be able to offer that during like their home visits with, I mean, their site visits with their biological parents,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
I'm actually thinking about putting together because I'm in such of a small town, and a lot of people. Um, I've had thoughts of putting together little get-togethers with people. You know what I'm saying,
Mhm,
out here, because
mhm,
I talked to a lot of people that around here that deal with anxiety and they dogs. You know, so I asked a lot of questions to these people. And I've actually thought about something like what you just said, as far as
mhm,
when I get these next litter of puppies, just inviting the kids and getting me an area somewhere around the house, like
mhm,
around the street, and inviting the kids
mhm.
to like a the puppy play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Just what I'm saying, something like that.
yeah,
Because that'll build. Because I wanted to sell food on the long side of that too. Have my puppies over here, kids play with the puppies, and
yeah.
just had a whole thing going. Like, yeah, it's a lot going on running through my mind when it comes to
Mhm,
this, to
mhm.
bring certain people together.
Yeah.
You know, networking for one. And
Mm.
just trying to get out of a, so trying to find a different lane about it.
Mhm. That sounds like a good idea. People do what they call it lunch and learns all the time to get to bring awareness to kind of like what they're doing. So yeah, and people love dogs, so
Yes, yes,
yeah, yeah, definitely. So like different research you can find, just kind of go ahead and start sending it out there, like certain percentage of this breed works well with anxiety, stuff you can already have those statistics available so that,
right,
it goes along with when you are trying to, kind of showcase it.
right. Because I'm breeding my own breed. Like, I'm
Okay.
developing my own breed of dog,
Okay.
my own breed of bully.
Gotcha.
Um, and the reason behind that is because I like the pit bulls, I like the bullies, but when you do your research on those, there's no one consistency in it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, and then there's always an argument. So I was like, you know what? I know what the baseline of this dog is. So and I fortunately, and this does not happen. I got 6 dogs that all got the same three baseline underlying DNA.
Mhm.
They got different percentages of that DNA, but they all got the same baseline. So it makes it, what I'm saying, like you'll get a lot of, like, from a lot of people in the dog world. I'll probably catch slack because I'm taking dogs that they might not, great dogs, but because
Mhm.
I don't know a name behind it or a lineage behind it, it
Mhm.
might not be quality to them.
Gotcha.
So I'm taking the harder road because now I really got to show and prove. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But all I get is good reviews off my first set of pups. I kind of knew what I was blending
Mhm.
when I started this situation, and now you know, um, so I'm pretty happy with it. I keep getting
Good.
encouragement to keep going. So
Right. Right.
but it is discouraging. It can be
Mhm.
discouraging,
Mhm.
and you got people trying to bring you down every day and all day, but
Yeah.
just gotta keep moving forward, man. That
Yeah.
is it.
Yeah, well, anything new can be discouraging, so it's not,
For sure. That's
mhm,
my thing. I gotta keep it in mind that I only started this channel 2 months ago, and
mhm.
and I would like to see it growing faster, but I'm still doing
I
better
know.
than a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? I
Uh-huh.
mean, but it's doing its thing,
Okay.
and it's where I need to be to
Mhm.
really grow from it. I just gotta keep it consistent. That's it. It's
Right.
everything now is all about the consistency of it.
Right. 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 It
And
sounds
Mara,
good.
I'm pretty. That's pretty much the last question I had. If I ask the next question, that's pretty much taking us back to what we already talked about. So,
Okay. Okay.
look, I appreciate you giving me this time.
No problem. I appreciate you for allowing me, or entrusting me to kind of, help you with
Huh?
this. I think you have a good thing going on. Like I said, mental health is evolving. It's not just limited to, psychiatric medication. There are other
Facts,
natural
facts.
things that people can kind of do on their own, and emotional support animals are one of those things. So you wanted something big. You are. Mhm.
Hey, I'm trying. I'm trying.
Uh-huh.
I ain't gonna tell you, like, hey, the devil is a lie.
Mhm,
'Cause,
mhm, mhm.
I mean, I kind of, and that's why I kind of keep pushing because everything I do, I feel like something's trying to discourage me from not doing
Mhm.
it. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? So
Mhm.
yeah, I gotta keep going.
Yeah, you gotta keep going with this one. Yeah.
I appreciate you, man. I
No
thank you, man.
problem. No problem. Enjoy the rest of
One
your
love to the
Saturday.
family. Tell everybody I said hey,
I
and you
will.
enjoy your Saturday too. I
Okay.
gotta see the nephews. I ain't seen them yet.
I know they growing.
Man, they big. Like, look, I'm like, bro, y'all don't even know me,
They
but they
don't
know.
even
You know
know
what
you.
I'm saying?
It's
It's
fine.
like,
JJ,
yo,
JJ and Zach, they the type they like their mom and daddy. They can grow on anyone. They
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and I see it. I see it, and I like them boys is active, and I like the fact that y'all keep them involved, man.
Uh-huh.
And y'all keep it pushing, man. Thank you
Thank
once
you.
again.
All right, you're welcome.
Yes,
Bye.
ma'am. Bye.